Hey guys, Chase, and today I wanted to share my grab bag that I take with me pretty much every single time I go outdoors. Unless I'm in town on the green belt, I pretty much bring this thing with me no matter what. And the reason I have a kit like this is because a handful of years ago I kind of realized that every time I was going out on a different activity, whether it's mountain biking, rock climbing, just hiking, hunting, whatever, I was constantly packing or unpacking and repacking bags, different backpacks, different kits. And I was always nervous I was gonna forget something, like one of the essential items. And so my solution was to come up with, one little minimal kit that I figure as long as I have this in my system, I'll be good to go for most situations. And then really all I have to think about outside of this are clothes, shelter, and food. And it just makes it nice and streamlined. And so pretty much whatever activity I'm doing, I just toss this in the backpack, bring it with me. Sometimes I'll slim it down a little bit, add a little bit more, depending on the situation. But for the most part, it's just like this. And the way it sits right now, it weighs just under 2 pounds. So it's not super light, but it's not that heavy, and it's capable of helping me out in a lot of situations. All right, so the first and probably the most important to me is this Garmin InReach. Now, if you saw my video on car camping gadgets, you're gonna see a couple repeats. This is the first one, and the reason is because I am a huge fan. I think it's nearly an absolute must for anybody who's going outdoors a lot, especially by themselves. I do a lot of stuff by myself, and it only took one decent fall way out of cell service by myself to realize that it would be bad to get caught in that situation and not be able to communicate out. So this has an SOS device built into it. Just push the button on the side. I keep this thing strapped to my shoulder strap on my backpacks generally. That way it's in reach. If I do fall and I'm incapacitated, but I'm still able to move my hands, I can just grab that, flip it, hit the SOS button, and I'm good to go. And then it also connects to my phone via the Garmin app, and then I can text from that. And so there are different plans that you can purchase. They're pretty cheap, and you can do month to month. And so usually when I'm out, if I am by myself, I'll just text my wife back at home, at night and in the morning. And if you want to, you can also share location so that they can track you. And so this is a piece that I pretty much take with me all the time whenever I'm leaving cell service. Okay, so now into the bag. This is an outdoor research bag. I don't know the name, but I will find it and link it down below along with all these other things. So the first thing is my medical kit. So this is a Adventure Medical Kits 0.3. It's slightly modified. It's in like a waterproof little bag, and it just has a handful of like gauze, tapes, ointments, and then an assortment of pills that I've put in here. So I've taken some things out, added some things in. And one of the things that I see quite frequently, and I used to be the same way, is people carrying massive medical kits for no reason really. And to be honest, I have used my medical kit very little over the years, and working as an EMT and in mountain rescue and stuff, I've kind of come to realize that there's a lot of things that we way over prepare for, and we don't actually think through, how we're going to use them in the situation, and if we can even make a difference anyways. And so I'm always thinking about, a few years back, I was at a trauma conference where an ER doc who, is an outdoorsman, spends a lot of time outside, talked about his medical kit, and I'm pretty sure it was smaller than this one. It might have had a few other things, because obviously he's way more capable and knowledgeable, but he had a tiny little kit, and it's kind of in line with, the Yvon Chouinard quote, where the more you know, the less you need. And maybe in this case, it's the more you know what you're actually capable, the less you want to bring, because you realize, I guess what you can make a difference. So realistically for me, it's like, for trauma, there's going to be a lot of improvising needed. For light trauma, there's gauze, tape that you can make any form of Band-Aid. You don't need to carry 1,000 different shapes. And then when it comes to different pills, you can put together whatever you want. For me, I just carry an ibuprofen, a Tylenol PM to help me sleep if I need it, and then I carry Enduralite, which is an electrolyte. Some people call them salt pills, and that's just in case I'm not getting enough electrolytes and I'm cramping, things like that. I can take those. And then some aspirin, things like that. So that's my kit. Obviously you have to consider your own needs. If you are allergic to things, definitely accommodate that. Bring an EpiPen if you need to, but you don't have to get too crazy. So then on the hygiene front, I keep it pretty simple. So this is for multi-day or, single day. I carry this little bag and I have just some Carmex chapstick, a little toothbrush, some toothpaste, and then a little tube of Dr. Bronner's soap that you can, use in streams and stuff. It's safe. And then I carry a set of earplugs, and that is huge. If you are sleeping, in your car in town with traffic noise, or you're, out in a tent and there's a lot of wind, whatever, having a set of earplugs can be an absolute game changer to help you sleep at night. So I highly recommend that. And then I carry just some wet wipe instead of toilet paper. That way you can, use those for whatever you need them for. And then got some Gold Bond, some foot powder. That way if your feet need it, great. Or if you're chafing, it's really great. And then depending on the season and the location, I also carry some bug spray. I've got this little pen of Repel for like tick and mosquito repellent. And sometimes I'll use these wipes too. So depending on the season or where I'm going, if there's a big problem, I will make sure to have some of that. But in the winter, sometimes I'll get rid of this. All right, so for survival kit, I've got this Soul kit. I don't know what it's called, but it is a tiny little kit. It's kind of like the medical kit for a long time. I had a more robust survival kit with a bunch of different things that I threw in. I ultimately realized that I just need to minimize it, have the essentials. So this thing has an emergency blanket in it, which is nice. You can use that for, a sling, wrap yourself up in a rainstorm, or if you get stuck out overnight. Then it's got a whistle for signaling people. It's got a signal mirror for flashing helicopters or, search party. And then it's got a little fishing kit, a little hook and string. And then it has a roll of duct tape, some little fire starting cotton things, and a little flint roller, as well as a little mini compass. So that's my survival kit. And then I also carry a set of storm matches and a mini Bic for lighting a fire. And then I carry a few of these wet fire, little fire starting tablets so that I'm not tearing into my survival kit. I'll just use these for starting, my everyday fires. Next, I've got a Sharpie Mini, and this is just for writing notes on things. If you ever, need to leave notes for people, it's nice to have one of these. Pens or pencils sometimes don't work very well. So then I've got a little Swiss Army knife. This thing's I think the smallest version. I carried a bigger knife for a long time. Sometimes I still do, but for the most part, I don't actually use a knife all that much. And this has a knife in it. It's also got a little set of scissors that I can use, and a set of tweezers that I can use for, pulling out slivers or picking ticks off or whatever. Got some Gear Aid tape, and so this is a just really sticky fabric tape that you can use for patching your like puffy jackets or your tent or your sleeping bag, anything that you rip a hole, you start losing all your goose feathers. You can use this, and it's it lasts a lot longer than duct tape. Duct tape will kind of like break down and start to fall apart, whereas this seems to last a lot longer, and it's lighter and more flexible, so it doesn't create like a rigid spot on your jacket if you do have to repair. So that's nice to have. I keep a little bundle of paracord. Paracord has a million uses. You can use it for stringing up food at night, throwing it up over a branch. You can use it to replace shoelaces that break, guy line on your tent if it breaks, straps on backpacks. So I just carry, I don't know, this is probably 25 feet or so. And it's just nice to have for a whole variety of reasons. I've got a Anchor battery and multi-charger cord, and this is just a battery pack, USB out, and then this cord set has USB plug into here, and then it's got 3 different styles of ports. It's got the lightning port for iPhone, it's got the mini USB or the micro USB that I can use to charge my headlamp or my Garmin, whatever, and then it also has a USB-C, so if I'm carrying cameras, I can charge those easily. So it's a nice little solution to, make it so that you don't have to carry 3 different cable sets. Next, I got my headlight. This is a Nightcore. I don't know what model it is, but it is a rechargeable little LED headlamp. Really, really light, small. It's impressive how bright it is. It has a red light and a normal white light, and lasts a long time and is really bright, especially for how light it is. I mean, it's weighs like nothing, so this is good. And then I've got that battery pack to recharge this if I, do run it dead. But that is it for my kit. Now, if you have any suggestions for things that I should be carrying or things that you think I'm wasting time, I know this is not an ultralight kit, but it's fairly minimal. And ultimately, I think the key is just to, plan accordingly, know your equipment, know how to use stuff, and don't carry anything with you that you don't know how to use. Just because you have a 1,000-piece medical kit does not make you a doctor. So carry things that you know how to use and plan for situations that you might encounter. But otherwise, just get out and enjoy yourself. So hope you guys learned something, and if you have any thoughts, please share them down below. Thanks for watching.